Torah or Parashat Vayechi, page 90, in middle of the first column, into the new paragraph. Okay, Alter Rebbe is explaining that in order to come to Yehuda, you need to have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven is the union of Re'iyah, which is his baininess of Ava, that's the first parsha of Shema. Shimon is a level of Shmi understanding, that's the second parsha of Shema. Levi is the third post Shema. Emes v'yatziv v'nochem v'kam v'yosha adavar hazeh, which refers to Torah, because Torah is a level of Emes, and that's the way Elokus comes into the world, and that connects the Jew with Hashem. And therefore he says that these levels, though, are all in Mamala Kol Almin, in Chesed, Gvur, Teferes, in world, and so on. But he says, Avol Bechinas Yehuda. These few lines we learned. But the level of Yehuda, which is Eidah, which is the level of Bittul V'Iskalus, Ve'in Tov Baruch Hu Mamash HaSeviv Kol Almin, that's the level of Ishtachva B'Tfil Shmon Esrei. Shmon Esrei is a completely higher level. It's completely Bittul. In other words, world means I exist, but I have love of Hashem and fear of Hashem. And the level of Yehuda means there is no world. Therefore, it's silent, which is the level of Seviv Kol Almin. There's no connection to world at all. You can't even say, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, a tzaddik gomor, even a complete tzaddik, has the highest possible level of love of Hashem, is still yesh mi she'oyev. It's somebody who loves. If I say I love, that means there's an I that's loving. Yehuda is the level that is complete bittul. There is no I that loves. All that exists is Hashem.
Is that why the Mashiach comes from Yehuda?
Yes. B'abchinas bittul mitzias mamish l'gayni, which is ishtabchus ocheka via mamish, to be one with Hashem. V'yet ka'ayin v'afetz mamish, to be nothing. Shalzeh inyan ishtachava. That's the concept of Meidim, which we bow by Shmon Esrei. Why? Like somebody who bows in the presence of the king. So he says, okay, so what's Yehuda? Yehuda is complete bittul. So you have Ava, Yira, Torah, right? Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. But then you come to Yehuda, which is a completely higher level. But now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain, what did Leah say? Hapam oidas Hashem. Now that I have 3 other kids, now I can thank Hashem. In other words, spiritually, in order to come to this level of Yehuda, which is total bittul, you first need to have the Aveda of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, then you can have bittul. Why? So he says like this. In order to come to this level, which is Yehuda, which is a level of Atah, what does the pasuk say? Yehuda Atah Yeduchachacha. Atah. What does that mean? When you say Yehuda Atah, Atah means you. It's in front of you. We learn many times. Atah means when the thing is in your presence. If something's not here, you can't say you. You means the thing is revealed. It's here. Okay? So now Yehuda Atah means in order to have the revelation of Yehuda, i.e., that this bittul should be internalized, then you need to have first Apamai. Now you first need Reuven, Shimon, and Levi.
Then halachically, if somebody walks into shul without saying about Shama or Shema and goes directly to Shmona Esrei, he's powerful?
He's bottle. He might be. He's over bottle.
No. No.
You know what that sounds like? Like today's younger generation, they want to get rich quick without doing anything. They want to get on the 10th million before they get to the first million. You know what I mean? They just. When you walk into the Shemon Esrei, yeah, maybe there's a concept called mitzvahs of tefillah, which we learned last night in Tanya, that if you say the words without kavanah, you're yaitza, except the first bracha Shemon Esrei and the first pasuk is Shema. Yeah, did you fulfill? But did you do Avedas HaTfilah? No. You did the mitzvah of Tfilah. But in order to come to Shemon Esrei, there's also a process. You first need Psukkah de Zimra, and Berches Krishma, and Shemon Esrei. There's a process. You want to jump the gun? Instant gratification doesn't work. There's a process in order to come to gratification. Relationships demand work. There's no instant relationship. A relationship with Hashem is not instant. Yeah, God could do 1 minute, he can, like Rabbi Lazar then the Dayak, he got the whole thing. But normally there's a process of connection, relationship. You have to build a relationship. Yeah, you have to build it, means you got to go more and more and more and more. Harder, 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 harder. First you need the level. Why do you need l'chayr if you're this bittul? Why do you first need Reuven, Shimon, and Levi? Shebehem val yodem, in them and through them, yom shel gili b'chinas heidazu. Then you're able to internalize this level of bittul. Why? Ki b'li k'dim es b'chinas Reuven, Shimon, v'Levi. Without first having the level of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, leinim shel b'chinas Yehuda, which is bittul v'eskalulus. It will not come in the level of gilui, ela b'chinas helim umak. It will be only in a superficial level. Meaning like this. To use practical language. There's an expression we learn many times in Chassidus. Emunah begins where Seichel ends. Emunah begins where Seichel ends. Okay? Which means, if I understand something, then I don't believe it. I understand it. Now, so if, let's say, until now, it's until here, my Seichel's until here. So now Emunah begins from here up. Once I understand more, so Emunah begins from there up. Right? You have the same thing in the level of bittul. A person who is completely ignorant, knows nothing, and says, yeah, I'm batul to Hashem. That's fine. But the ultimate bittul is when you have an understanding of what Hashem isn't. And the more you learn, the more you realize what Hashem isn't. Like we said many, many times. 1 and a trillion compared to infinite are equal. They're both infinite away from infinite. So what's the difference between 1 and a trillion? The answer is 1's perception of infinite is 1,000. Whoa, 1,000. A trillion knows what it is, and yet it realizes it's infinite away from infinite. What infinite is, it can't, because a limitation cannot understand infinite. Right? A limited amount of numbers cannot get infinite. It's a completely different realm. So what does that mean? So in order to come to the ultimate bittul, meaning that Hashem is everything and we're nothing, you need to first have Ava, Yira, Torah, Bittul, Chochma, Chesed, Word. You need to have Re'iyah and Shmiyah and Leviyah. Then, after you have these levels, and then you come to the level of Bittul. Now the problem is, usually, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi cause Gaiva. Look how great I am. I have Reuven, I have Shimon, I have Levi. So the Avodah is to internalize those levels that it's really bittul. That it's taka. With all I know, that means I'm even more nothing. So therefore the Rebbe says, without the level of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi first, hapam, now that I have Reuven and Shimon and Levi, now when I have the level of bittul, I can internalize, because I have a vessel to understand what Hashem isn't. So therefore the bittul is a much greater bittul.
That we can fly to die like a baby. Like they say.
One opinion said that, yeah.
That's
No. Those tzaddikim learned and davened and they had Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. And he does, when it comes to davening, I don't think about, because it says, why do Yidden daven and not get answered? Because they don't know how to be mechaven the shemis. They don't know how to have intention. You have this in the Svardik Sidurim, in the Alter Rebbe Siddur, Chassidus says it. You know, by every level Yud Kevavke, it's either a patach, a kometz, a segol, or whatever it is, yeah? Because when, it's so funny, it's like, nobody knows what they're doing, right? But when you have Yud Kevavke with a patach, the 10 nekudas at the 10 spheres. You know the vowels? They correspond with the 10 spheres. Patach is chachma, kametz is bina, segol is das. Okay? So you have Yud Kevavke in the Svardik Sidurim, they have this, right? So if you have the Yud Kevavke with a patach under it, that means the hashpah of that bracha has to go through chachma. If there's a kametz, means the hashpah has to go through bina. So even tzaddikim had a hard time with this channeling this into chachma and bina. So that opinion, Tzemach Tzedek brings down in Shusterman Tefillah, and he mispalel davzatinik. I daven like a baby. He davens to God. He thinks a chachma bina. He davens to God. Let God deal with it. That on the contrary, though, that's only after you learn to daven and all those things. Then you can daven like davzatinik. It doesn't mean there are ignorant people, okay, I daven like a baby. Yeah, it's good for a baby. Okay, so he says, coming to what you said, he walks into Shul, says Shemana Esrei. You can't begin Shemana Esrei, B'li Kadim is Psukkah de Zimra, without first saying Psukkah de Zimra. Vayechi Arve Krishma. So now the Alter Rebbe says, by Mincha we go straight to Shemana Esrei. Okay, we have Ashrei. So why don't we need all that same stuff? So he says, Rak Tfilah Shemana Esrei Kvar Shekdim or B'Shachos Kishma V'Chisel. But Ma'ariv, you need Krishma V'Chisel Kedem HaTfilah. It says, okay, there are different levels of Tfilah. Mincha is still a continuation of Shachos. Ma'ariv is already a new day, so you need again the level of the brachas before Shema the Shema and so on. Okay, that finishes until the end of the page because it's a paragraph. Okay. Okay, in this parentheses over here, whether it's Tzemach Tzedek or not, whatever. But he's saying that there's a level of bittul below Ava and Yira, and there's a level of bittul above it. The ultimate goal is to have a level of bittul above Ava v'Yira. Because again, without Ava v'Yira is like an ignorant person. They don't have a meditation to awaken love or fear, right? So they have bittul. Yeah. It's not the same level of bittul who is understanding and great and all that and still have ultimate bittul. It's a much, much greater. You can't compare the two. Person doesn't know anything, okay, I accept Kabbalah soil. Okay, you know what? You tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. You don't understand anything, of course it's easy to do it because you don't know anything. What happens, a person understands everything and still does it with ultimate bittul. They put their understanding, their existence completely off to the side. That's the ultimate level of bittul. Therefore, we learned many times, the Medrash says, Shlomo Melech says, Pesi yamin l'chol davar. Okay? Shlomo Melech says, a fool believes everything. Pesi is a fool. Yamin l'chol davar will believe everything. So the Medrash says, Zeh Moshe Rabbeinu. Who is the fool that Shlomo Melech is referring to that believes everything? That's Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is Chochma Vatzilus. What do you mean Moshe Rabbeinu is the fool? Adrabah, this is what he's saying. Moshe Rabbeinu is this ultimate level of Chochma, yet he served Hashem with Emunah. He believed not, in other words, like it says in the expression, Akol kiftayim etzli yizbarach. By compared to Hashem, everybody's a fool. Right? Because again, Hashem's infinite and His seichel is finite. So Moshe Rabbeinu, Dafka because he was so great. His greatness was not that he was great, that this greatness had total bittul.
The emunah of somebody who learned is not equal to the emunah of somebody who is ignorant.
Which one's greater?
The first one.
Okay, that's what he's saying. So in order to come to the ultimate level of bittul, to internalize the level of bittul, first you have greatness of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Then you can come to the ultimate level of bittul. Otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, the top of the column. Then the pasuk says this. Yehuda ati yidu chalachecha. Okay, and then it's yotcha ba'erev evacha. Your hand will be on the neck of the enemy. That's what the pasuk says, right? Evacha. Who's the enemy? Now again, we're talking this pasuk spiritual. Apameidas Hashem, or right? Yehuda is a level of bittul. So what's the level of bittul? That his hand is controlling the neck of the enemy. Who's the enemy spiritually? He says, "Inyani elam hazeh v'tzarchi aguf gashmi," the physical needs, physical pleasures. He says, "Agam shadum tzarch lahem," even though a person needs to eat and to sleep. I mean, otherwise you can't live. In the person's mind, all this gashmis has to be totally unimportant, like a back of the neck. Not something you're really into. It's chitain. I need to live, so I eat. Like we said, you don't eat to live. You don't live to eat. You eat to live. So it's not important. And he says, P'chin is upon him, the level upon Mishai Sadavar B'levin Nefesh, you do it with excitement and P'chin is Erev, like his Achuraim, the external level, like you throw it or over the shoulder. Yotcho B'erev Evacho. And then the pasuk says, Yotcho, your hands are in the neck of your enemy. Al Tichi Yodach Ali Yeducha, which is Yotcho Mamish, explain, which is the level of the bittul to the hand of Hashem. Like we say in davening, in slichas, and Hashem, your right hand is outstretched, pshuta opened up, the kabul shavim. Now what's yotcha? By Hashem, yotcha is yamin. Okay? Yad b'chlal, by Hashem means yad, unless it says, we say, Yemin Hashem nadari b'kodesh Yemin Hashem tiratayv. So over there it says twice Yemincha. So by Kriyas Yamsov it says even the left hand became the level of Yemin. That's why it says twice Yemincha. Why is it Yemin Hashem? Okay, because it means Yemin Hashem that even the left hand becomes the right hand. B'chein Yemin v'chesed shenis bashid l'mata mata. Like it said, Vayari Yisrael Siyad HaGedolah. They saw the great hand of Hashem. What hand did they see? Again, they didn't see a hand. They saw Yotcha, the level of Chesed of Hashem, the right hand of Hashem. Kine Yerid HaGedolah Zeis is the level of Achurayim, Kilo Kumigodam Laham Shechadam. Who causes the person? The Yismuch, a person realizes like this. Why is the eating, he's saying, Eivecha represents the Gashmistic world. Why is it your enemy? Because the person is not really interested in it. A person realizes, why do I need to eat and sleep and do this and that and have a house and a car and all that stuff? Why do I need it? Because Hashem is forcing me to do it. I need to get from place to place. So Hashem needs that I have a car. But who cares what car? What the car? I have to get from place to place. Place A to place B. So Hashem is forcing me to do it. So I have to get a car, I have to get food, I have to get a bed, whatever it may be. Like you said, when they got the new car for the Rebbe refused to go into it. He said, what's wrong with the old one? And Mamish refused. They bought the car and he never, ever went into it. He refused to go into it.
What did they do with the car?
It was put into storage. They made a custom car that higher doors that the Rebbe doesn't have to bend to get in. It was hard for him, whatever. They made and the new car was old already. I remember the Rebbe was waiting. I mean, I wasn't there, I was here. But there's pictures of it. The Rebbe was waiting by the curb. He walked out, the driver was taking him home. My uncle was taking the Rebbe home. And he said, like, what the altar car? So he told the Rebbe, he said, no. He said, but what's wrong with the old one? The Rebbe said, I'm not going in. He didn't say, but he said basically, get me the old car back. I'm not going into it. Because, what is it? Why do I need a new car if the old car works?
But it was a gift. They gave him a gift.
The Rebbe didn't like gifts. Anytime somebody gave the Rebbe a gift, he paid for it. Unless it was a spiritual gift, like learning and davening that he did. If somebody gave anything the Rebbe, he demanded to pay for it.
Books.
Svardim, even when guys make dollars, you see this. When they used to bring the Rebbe Svardim make dollars, the Rebbe said for a sefer you have to pay. Pay the dollars, not the point. He didn't. The pasuk says, "Seini matonis yichya." One who hates gifts lives long.
Wow, that's good.